Hey everybody, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and we usually do this as a live stream on Facebook, but today Facebook has blown up. I guess Mark Zuckerberg has enough of his. Oops, sorry, let me turn this off. Sorry about that. I got all these people calling me now. Always, every time I start this, I get 50 people calling me. But we talk to farmers all day long, so it's great. You know, uh, I wanted to let you guys know that sometimes if you're in the field, or you're working hard, or you're doing things on your farm, you're paying attention to your own business, you don't necessarily see everything that's happening along in the world. And one of the things that we're seeing is a tremendous awakening that's happening, not just in the world, but it's also happening here in farming as well. People are starting to wake up to the fact that, hey, traditional farming, traditional agricultural practices of using pesticides and using chemicals and chemical fertilizers and over fertilizing and all these different things that we have taken for granted that we all think we need to do to get a crop out. Now, these things are not necessarily working. They're not working for sustainable agriculture. They're not working to provide future generations the opportunity to enjoy the fruits and vegetables that we all have. And that awakening is happening sort of gradually, but more and more people are really understanding and realizing that we can't keep doing the same things we've been doing for the last 60 or 70 years and expect civilization to come out ahead. You can't keep throwing toxic chemicals into the soil and expect that soil to continue to produce in the same way that it did before. You can't, likewise, you can't take a soil and just over farm it and essentially rape that land of all of its nutrients and expect to have soil as well. So there's sort of a balance there. So what we're trying to do here with the future of farming today is provide you with some hopefully some entertainment. Hopefully it's a little entertaining, but also some information and education about different things that we should be looking at in terms of how do we get a good crop out, how do we improve our yields and the quality of the produce that we're getting, without doing so in a way that's harming the environment or killing the soil or harming the microbes in the soil, because all those factors are important for long-term health and long-term productivity. So it's a real balancing act, right? It's one thing to say, oh, you shouldn't use any chemicals, you shouldn't use anything but natural fertilizer, and then you do that and you wind up not getting a good crop that year or not getting any crop. Then you say, well, I'm tied. What can I do? My hands are tied. The technology I'm about to show you here is a breakthrough in physics, actually. It's a breakthrough in science that I think is going to help solve this problem, this conundrum. Anytime you have people doing things that are maybe either they don't want to do or that we might consider less than ideal, it's usually a reason because there's a problem earlier than that they don't have a good solution for. You take a person take a farmer who's using GMOs and spraying a lot of Roundup and a lot of other pesticides all over their field. You think, well, that guy maybe is not doing the things that are in a very healthy way, but he's doing that because he needs to get a good crop out and he has no other solution. He's not a other solution for the weeds or for the insects or other problems that he's facing on his field. And so he does these things because it's the lesser of two evils, so to speak. With Kiminasi Plant Booster, this technology I'm going to show you, we're able to solve a lot of the problems that farmers are facing, but we're solving it not by looking at a specific problem and trying to just handle that. We're looking at the root cause of some of these problems. And I'm going to go into these in a little bit here, but we're looking at the root cause of insects and funguses and disease and, poor soil nutrition, poor soil health and water retention, all these different factors that you run into. And we're trying to find the root cause, and by handling the root cause of these things, the symptoms go away. It's kind of like the difference between, a doctor, a medical doctor, who you come in there and say, I have this really bad headache, and he just gives you an aspirin and says, okay. And you take the aspirin, you think, oh, my headache's gone. But then after a while, you keep getting headaches, and so you keep taking aspirin. Eventually, you have to take more aspirin. Eventually, you're looking at like, why am I taking all this aspirin all the time? Why can't I solve the headache? Because aspirin is just covering it up. And likewise in agriculture, you can keep spraying, weed killer, and weed killer and weed killer, and keep spraying insecticides to kill the bugs. And you just kind of gonna have to use more and more or stronger and stronger stuff. And eventually, like, why are these insects always attacking my fields anyway? What can I do about this so that I can solve the problem? And it turns out that if you make the plant healthy and the soil healthy, you can solve a lot of these problems that you're dealing with, but doing so in a way that's actually handling the cause of it, not just the effects. So let me show you what this future of farming technology is all about and how we're using it to help farmers around the world, not just increase their yields, but also to get much better quality fruits and vegetables than they've ever been able to produce before. So let's take a look here. Again, we call this the future of farming today just because the technology itself is pretty futuristic. Well, we're not using chemicals, okay? We're not using chemistry to solve a biological problem. We're using physics. The laws of physics actually give rise to chemistry. In other words, the different chemical interactions that we see in biology are actually governed by physics. And the inventor of this technology was able to solve this. So our mission as a company, though, is very simple. Our mission is really just to help farmers like you grow healthier, better quality fruits and vegetables with lower costs and increased yields, and all without harming the environment. Pretty simple task, right? Now, the basis of this technology is actually relatively simple. The inventor of this technology has known for many years that every living thing on this planet has a frequency. Humans, fish, birds, insects, even plants all operate according to a very specific frequency. And that frequency can be measured by very sensitive equipment during its biological processes. So when we look at healthy plants that are healthy, they're vibrant, they're producing well, they're producing lots of fruits and vegetables, they're producing healthy, good quality fruits and vegetables, those plants are operating according to a very specific frequency. And those, we noticed in looking at hundreds of different types of plants that they all operate according to a very similar frequency because photosynthesis is the same in all plants. And when we look at unhealthy plants or plants that are stressed, we see a very different pattern here, a different frequency pattern. In other words, the frequencies have been altered in the unhealthy plants. And so the inventor of this technology said, well, what if I can get the frequencies of healthy plants to unhealthy plants? I think that they would improve their health and they would look better. And overall, they would produce more. And of course, over hundreds of experiments, he proved that that's exactly what happened. So his next challenge was, how do I get these to the plants? How do I actually accomplish this? And he studied the properties of water and discovered that water has the ability of carrying these frequency signals from a micro transmitter directly to the plant. And so we're able to program over 3,000 of these frequencies of healthy plants into these little transmitters, attach them to your irrigation system, and then every time you water the plants, our device is going to send these frequencies to the plants. Now, when the plant absorbs these frequencies, they get stronger, healthier, and faster. They grow faster, they are much healthier, they produce more fruits and vegetables. Now, one thing I'd like you to notice and take note of is this technology is brand new. It's never been seen before. So if you haven't heard of this, it's because it's new. It's been around for a couple of years. There's lots of farmers using it, but we're trying to really get the information out to everybody here. So it's not magnets, it's not a water treatment device. Our technology has nothing to do with those things. It's a very unique radio wave signaling system that improves the metabolism of plants. Now, if you think of a submarine, it actually works in the same way. A submarine is able to be at the bottom of the ocean and transmit a radio signal through the water up into the air and into the antenna so that it can communicate with the land base. And our system is able to utilize the irrigation system in the same manner. We're able to send the signals into the water carries it to the plants absorb the signals, and of course, their own photosynthesis is improved. Now, the next question we get the most often is, well, what is this product? How does it work? How is it installed? How can I use it? And it's a very simple device that you attach right onto the outside of your irrigation system. And then every time you water the plants, as I said, our system is going to transmit these signals that will improve the health of the plant. It's kind of like you're reinforcing the plant's health every time you irrigate. And of course, for small farms, we have smaller devices like you see on the right. And of course, you can use it all the way down to a garden size if you like. Now, the two key areas that our system really improves is photosynthesis efficiency. In other words, we're widening the range of conditions under which photosynthesis can occur. And secondly, we're improving soil health to the point where we're improving the quality and health of the soil over time as well. So when we look at better photosynthesis, we're seeing faster, more vigorous growth. We're seeing more flowering and vegetable and fruit production, and we're seeing better quality as well. So to show you some examples of what we've seen in the last couple of years, on a citrus farm, we were able to increase the speed of growth on citrus seedlings from by 100%. So really we have 1-year-old seedlings that are outgrowing 2-year-old seedlings on the neighbor's farm. In nursery applications, again, we've reduced growth times from 10 weeks down to 5 weeks on these dragon fruit seedlings. In greenhouse applications, we've been able to double the production of test plants and using 0 pesticide or fungicide. And the agronomist on this particular field down in Colombia noted that he's never been seen this in his 17 years of managing these greenhouses, where he's able to grow a healthy crop without a fungicide, without spraying anything. And the reality is our system is making the plants healthy enough that their own natural defense mechanisms against insects and funguses and disease is enhanced as well. When you can increase the energy of the plant, you can also increase a lot of its normal biological functions. But when that plant is reduced in its energy and has a deficiency in its energy production, then insects and funguses and other diseases will get in and will start to wreak havoc on your crops. Another example is a field study we did on tomatoes, and this again was in Colombia. And this was, we improved the quality of his tomatoes by 100%. And we also, again, zeroed out his pesticide use for this farm. On melon production in Brazil, we've seen a 25% increase in yield with 0 minor flies. In Peru, we've seen 27% increase in production on artichokes with 50% less nematodes. On squash in Washington State, we've seen an improvement in the overall growth and vigor of the squash plants. Plus, we saw a 15% increase in yield versus his normal yield here. Down in Chile, we've seen reduced mite infestation from 48% of the untreated vines down to less than 10% on the treated fields here. You see here the agronomy report where he shows the reduction here of 38%. In India, we've seen improvements of 20% increase in yield on eggplants with, again, less insects. And the picture really just shows the difference in a very visual way. Look at how much holes and other damage these insects were causing on the untreated field on the left here versus the Kiminasi field, which had 0 insect damage whatsoever. In terms of yield increases, we've seen huge increases there, 49% increase in asparagus production in Peru, and this is the largest asparagus producer in the region. On the National Agrarian University also showed 26.7% increase in production on watermelon production, and that was 12 tons per hectare more on the Kiminasi field. We've seen an 18% increase in overall production on pepper plants up in Washington State. And we saw a 55% increase in lime production in Colombia. We've seen 32% increase in production in Bolivia on potatoes. In India, again, we saw a 33% increase in lentil production with better quality ratings as well. And all this would be great if it's just production, but we're also seeing big improvements in quality of produce as well. And that's huge too, because you don't want to just produce a lot more fruit and have it be flavorful or no nutrients, no nutrient density, et cetera. So here we see a 25% increase in overall production on our cherry farm. Plus they got an extra $1 per kilogram due to improved quality, better size, better sweetness, and better overall quality ratings versus their control. In California, we've seen an improvement in size and bricks of 5 points in Central California on plums. In blueberry production, we've seen 10% increase in overall size with better bricks, meaning sweeter fruit, as well as more profitability. This particular farmer made $12,500 per hectare more on his blueberries with Kiminasi than his standard. We've seen a 56% improvement in overall exportability of blueberries down in Chile as well. And up in Washington, again, on a farm that was not irrigated, where they irrigated, but they did not fertilize. He had no fertilization on these grapevines, and he still got a bricks from 19 to 26. So a 6-point increase or 7-point increase there in bricks rating with no fertilizers used. So in terms of soil health, what we're seeing is better quality minerals in the soil with a reduction in conductivity, which has to do with sodium content. And I'll get to that in a second. We've seen an improvement in microbial activity in the soil, as well as better water retention in the soil as well. Now, farmers are reducing the amount of water that they're using because they don't need it. The soil has enough water in it. And plants also are seeing a better tolerance to brackish or salty water as well. In terms of soil improvement, again, this soil test is one of our soil tests that shows a reduction in soil conductivity from 2.3 down to 1.7, and a reduction in sodium content from 1.1, which was in a high range, down to 0.6, which was considered average. And this almond grove down in Chile, they also noticed that they had a better water retention in the soil. In fact, this was a hard, compact type soil, and this farmer was able to reduce his overall water usage by 66% just by having the water have better penetration and retention characteristics than before. On this walnut grove, we've seen a 46% reduction in water usage with a 30% increase in production because of the difference in salt damage. You see the picture on the left that we used as a control had lots of sodium or salt damage. And the picture on the right shows the Kemenasi plant booster after 12 weeks. The canopies came back, the trees got healthy, and of course they're producing a lot more as well. So just to give you a quick overall summary, we're obtaining 20% and more increases in yield on a consistent basis on crops all over the world. We're seeing better fresh weight and better overall production. We're seeing quality measurements of better Brix rating and better shelf life and better soil improvements. We're seeing faster growth rate, better resistance to insects and disease, and we're seeing better microbial activity and retention of the soil. So if you think that I'm promising a lot from one product, the reality is, again, we are just improving and we're handling the cause. The cause of a lot of these problems that we deal with, whether it's insects, disease, weeds, all these things, have to do with the fact that the plants or the trees just are not healthy enough. They just lack the health and the energy that they need to be able to fend off these types of problems. And so we're constantly dealing with it. We're constantly chasing ourselves, trying to handle the effects of the problem, when we really should be just looking at the metabolism of the plant itself. Kemenasi Plant Booster is handling the metabolism of the plant directly without chemicals. And so over time, you should see a reduction in the amount of fertilizer usage and other chemicals. So our mission, again, as a company, is to help farmers make more money and produce better quality fruits and vegetables. Because if we can do both of those things, then everybody wins. We all get healthier, better quality food to eat, and the farmers can put more money in their pocket, and all of their hard work and hard labor will pay off. And I think that's the situation where everybody can win. So having said all of that, I just want to let you know too, we've been installing this for the last 2 years, even with COVID slowing things down. We've started installing these in and around different areas of the country here, especially here in our home base of Florida, over in California, Washington State. You know, different parts of the country are all jumping on board with this. And so to speak, we've been on the East and West Coast because those are the main irrigation areas of this country. But as more and more farmers find out about it, we're creeping into the central part of the country as well. And of course, by the end of next year, we would expect this whole map to be red. But we've been continually installing and adding more and more farms in South America in a similar way. We started in Peru, and we started expanding in and around outside of Peru into Bolivia, into Venezuela, into Brazil, Ecuador, Chile, down in and around the East and West Coast here. And on the Caribbean, oopsie, we're actually adding more and more here. So I forgot that this, we have a lot more farms than we used to have in the last couple of months. And in Mexico and the Caribbean, again, we're just getting started down there as well. So we've got a lot. We got over 20 farms in Puerto Rico. We've got some farms opening up in Tobago and Trinidad and in Mexico. And we're just going to be adding more and more farms. So let me open this up for some questions, guys. What questions do you have that I can answer here? Let me touch base here. See, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm going to actually take a look at our YouTube feed. Again, we normally do this for Facebook, but we're going to do this on YouTube today. So let's see what we got here. I'm not seeing any questions, guys, but that's totally fine. Guys, if you do have questions, please, we want to hear, oops, pull this back here. If you have questions and you're not watching this live, or you have questions and don't want to put them in the comments on YouTube, please just reach out to us directly. We'd love to talk with you. We talk to farmers all day long, and that's our whole reason for being here. So give us a call at 727-324-6750. You can email us directly at service@harvestharmonics.com, and you can go to harvestharmonics.com, our website, and check out the science if you want to more deep dive into the technical features and how this works and how the laws of physics are being altered in a positive way. Or you can read more of our case studies. Again, we just usually do a few of these on this presentation, but there's hundreds of case studies on our website, so feel free to check those out. And I see somebody had a question for me here. Does this technology work on with electricity? It is a self-powered unit. So if you guys are worried about how do I plug this in, how do I use this, the transmitters are self-powered. So the first time you irrigate, the transmitters are activated and they're designed to last for 2 years before they need to be replaced. So you have 2 years to watch your crops grow healthier, stronger, faster, and put more money in your pocket. And then obviously you just replace them if you're having a good experience. Next question is, can I install this on my garden? Yes, we have devices that are compatible for garden or home use. Some people want them for their lawn. They want a nice green, healthy lawn. Use it on your lawn. You'll see the grass growing healthier and stronger. They want to use it on their house plants or their garden. Of course, you can use this. We have small devices that you can use as a homeowner. You don't have to be a big giant farmer to use this. Or if you are a big giant farmer, yeah, we can accommodate you too. We have field sizes all the way up to 200 acres per shot. We can definitely help you. Looks like that's all the questions I got, guys. I want to thank you, first of all, for joining us here in the Future of Farming today. If you guys are unhappy or dissatisfied with how things are going on your farm, and you're also not satisfied with the solutions that the chemical companies or other companies have come up with, I urge you to check this out and do your homework on this, because this technology we know is going to be the future of how farming is done, because the benefits are just too amazing, and the cost relative to the benefit is relatively small. There's just no other technology out there that can do everything that this technology can do at even multiple times what we're trying to charge for this. We're trying to keep this affordable for most farmers, and we want you to experience this magic on your own farm. So whether you want to do a 5-acre trial or a 500-acre trial or anything in between, we would love to work with you to show you that this technology can produce amazing results on your farm. We're not asking you to trust us at all. We just say, look, try this on a small section of your farm and let us prove ourselves. Because once we prove it to you, we know you're going to be happy. We know you're going to be one of our advocates and our testimonials and our happy farmers. So let's just jump on board. Let's get this field of agriculture moving into the 20th century and the 21st century and the 22nd century. And do this in a way that's organic, that's sustainable, that's healthy, and that produces better quality fruits and vegetables for all of us, but also puts more money in your pocket in the long run too. It helps make this a generational and sustainable activity that you can pass on to your kids and future generations as well. That's all we got today, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk again soon.